Multiply. Card type, spell, property, quick play. Tribute 1 face-up Kuriboh. Special summon as many Kuriboh tokens, Fiend, Dark, level 1, attack 300, defense 200, as possible, in defense position. They cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. Card trivia, Multiply. There is a spell card with a similar effect designed for the Tricky spell 4. Fittingly, both cards are used by Yami Yugi in the anime. This card, along with Time Machine, was released in the TCG almost a decade after it was released in the OCG. Card appearances, Multiply, Yu-Gi-Oh! This card was treated as a continuous spell card. This card could summon 2 additional copies of a targeted monsters with less than or equal to 500 attack, or alternatively, if this card was used on Kuriboh, an infinite amount of Kuriboh tokens would be summoned with disregard to the infinite amount of monster card zones. The finite amount of monster card zones. This card also had different artwork compared to its TCG and OCG artwork. Duelist Kingdom. In episode 22, this card was seen in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Seto Kaiba. In the next episode, this card is still shown to be in Yami Yugi's hand. In the following episode, Yugi activates this card in order to create a Kuriboh shield that not even Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon could destroy. This allowed Yugi to protect himself from Kaiba's attacks and enable him to utilize another combo, which involved Mammoth Graveyard, Living Arrow, and Polymerization that would weaken Kaiba's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon each turn until Kaiba's monster was weak enough for Yugi to destroy. This card remained on the field until the duel was over. In episode 38, this card is shown in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Maximilian Pegasus. In the next episode, Thousand Eyes Restrict tries to equip itself with Magician of Black Chaos, but Yami Yugi activates this card to turn his Kuriboh into a Kuriboh wall that would protect Magician of Black Chaos. As a result of this, Thousand Eyes Restrict had no choice but to absorb the Kuribohs. After Thousand Eyes Restrict gained the attack of Kuriboh, the Kuribohs all self-destructed, which resulted in Thousand Eyes Restrict being blinded and its effect negated. Yugi then takes damage equal to the attack of Kuriboh, and his Magician of Black Chaos becomes free from the effects of Thousand Eyes Restrict. Legendary Heroes. In episode 45, Yami Yugi activates this card when his Catapult Turtle launches Kuriboh at the Great Moths. This turns Kuriboh into a Kuriboh army that explodes on the Great Moths. Upon making physical contact with the Moths, this defeats the Great Moths and allows Yugi and his friends to continue forward. Battle City. In episode 68, Yugi sets this card during his tag duel with Kaiba against Rare Hunter 2 and Rare Hunter 3, but Yugi did not activate it as Kaiba defeated the Rare Hunters by himself. In episode 71, Yugi uses this card during his tag duel with Kaiba against Loomis and Umbra. When Shining Abyss attacks Kaiba directly, Yugi activates this card to turn his Kuriboh into a Kuriboh army that blocked off the attack made by Shining Abyss. Later, Loomis activates Mask of Dispel to target this card and negate its effect while Mask of Dispel is face up on the field. Due to this, the Kuriboh shield was reduced back down to 1 Kuriboh. This card remained on the field for the next 2 episodes until the duel was over. Virtual World. In episode 99, this card appears when Yami Yugi was building his Virtual World deck for his duel against Gansly. In episode 106, this card can be seen when Duke Devlin, Tristan Taylor, and Serenity Wheeler were building their Virtual World decks for their duel against Nesbit. In episode 108, this card can be seen when Seto Kaiba was building his Virtual World deck for his duel against Lecter. Battle City Finals. In episode 139, Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Yami Merrick. He uses this card to target Metal Fiend token and special summon 2 more Metal Fiend tokens. Waking the Dragons. In episode 182, Yami Yugi uses this card in the battle against the Great Leviathan. After the chosen duelist's first attempt to defeat the Great Leviathan failed, Yami Yugi has Tamias absorb the power of this card in Kuriboh. Tamias then attacks the Great Leviathan, but the attack fails to destroy it. Grand Championship. In episode 198, this card is seen in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Leon von Schroeder, Dawn of the Duel. In episode 220, 2 copies of this card are shown when Yugi is shown building his deck for the battle ritual. In the manga, Yami Bakura used this card on Necro Mannequin to prevent Yugi from attacking. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. In this anime, this card has its TCG and OCG effect. In episode 19, Dimitri uses this card during his duel against Jade and Yuki while the former was using Yugi's deck. When elemental hero Bubbleman, whose attack was 1600 due to Bubble Blaster, attacks Kuribo, Dimitri activates this card to tribute this card and summon 4 Kuribo tokens. A replay then occurs, and Jaden uses Bubbleman to attack and destroy a Kuribo token. Later, elemental hero Sparkman attacks and destroys another token. On Jaden's next turn, elemental hero Burstinatrix and elemental hero Avion attack and destroy the last 2 tokens. Scripted duels. In the non-canon duel World Championship 2013 special, Mai vs. Yugi, Yugi activates this card, targeting Kuribo to summon an infinite amount of Kuribo tokens. The same turn, 2 of these tokens are attributed to pay the cost of Obelisk the Tormentor's effects. Naming. In the Spanish anime dub, this card was known as Multiplicación, while in the dub for American Spanish-speaking countries, it was known as Multiplicate.